All right, this was unexpected, but I decided I should do this. I should do a part 3 on ranks in the U.S. military. This one's going to be the technical ranks. Now, someone asked me in the enlisted ranks about specialist. Is specialist called a specialist because the particular position they're in? Is it because of they get a particular specialized piece of equipment, so that's why they're called specialist? No. Okay, specialist is the same E grade or pay grade as a corporal. Now, around Vietnam and earlier, they eliminated this in the late 70s. They had specialist ranks. My understanding were they started as Spec E4 or Spec 4 or Specialist 4, and then they went up to Specialist 5, Specialist 6, Specialist 7, and I think they had a Spec 8. Now, these people were ones that were technically outside of the rank structure. They could not be in leadership positions. They were literally, like it said, specialists. So these were people that were special skilled in particular weapon systems or maintenance, mechanics, pilots, and that type of stuff. They did away with that after Vietnam, but they kept the sham shield, the Spec 4 rank. And we kept that and put it in the enlisted ranks. So now when you get to PFC, you're not quite ready to be a non-commissioned officer, so they're not going to make you a sergeant or a corporal. They can at least promote you to specialist, showing that you've been in long enough, you have the knowledge, that you're basically a master at those skill level 1 tasks. That's what it's supposed to mean. In the military, especially in the Army, we refer to this as the sham shield. You have a thing called the E4 Mafia. I know I was a part of it. Everyone in the military ends up being a part of it sooner or later. The E4 Mafia is all the people that are specialists who can get shit done. So in the E4 Mafia, I have someone on my fire team that needs a particular piece of paperwork done. I go over to the S1 personnel section, and I talk to another member of the E4 Mafia, a specialist in PAC, and tell him, hey, Private such and such needs this form. That specialist, member of the E4 Mafia, says, sure, pulls it out and gives it to you. Anyone else asks him for that, he'll say, I'm not sure where it's at, I'll look for it and let you know in a couple days. Now, we also have in the military warrant officers. Warrant officers are not commissioned officers. These guys typically are not in command of a unit. Now, the most common ones you're going to see are basically Warrant Officer 1 through 3. And you'll see these at a battalion level. They'll be the person that's in charge of the maintenance section for that entire battalion. So they're essentially a platoon leader, but really don't have the leadership requirements or so forth. Now, warrant officer ranks are silver, like first lieutenant, just a single bar. If it has an open square on it, that's a WO1, a warrant officer 1. That square gets dark, filled in, they're now a warrant officer 2. They end up with 2 black marks on there, warrant officer 3. 3 black marks, warrant officer 4. And they've been around a long time, don't give a fuck. They get 4 black marks, warrant officer 5. Warrant officer 5s are people you don't fuck with. Because if you mess with them, they will seriously fuck with you. Warrant officers are typically only seen in specialized positions such as maintenance. Another place that you see them is aviation. You'll see them in charge of helicopters. Maybe you'll see them in charge of drones. I don't know. I didn't work too much with drone people, so I can't say for certain. Warrant officers are subject matter experts, or at least they're supposed to be, in a technical field. You will sometimes see warrant officers in other areas. I know there was engineer warrant officers, but there were very few and far between. I did see a quartermaster warrant officer once, which really didn't make any sense to me how the person got that rank. And that person was in charge of the S4 section, the battalion supply section, the battalion's level of logistics. They were the one that coordinated for all the companies in that battalion to get what they needed. So they do not fit anywhere in a chain of command. They are not part of the commissioned officer chain. They are not part of the non-commissioned officer support chain. The higher you get in rank as a non-commissioned officer, the less you are directly leading troops, but you are handling the support for that element. You are the one that makes sure the people get their beans, Band-Aids, and bullets. You're not the actual supply person that gets it. You're just the person that makes sure everyone gets it, and if they don't get it, you raise hell. These guys live on the outside of the rank system. No one ever really explained to me if these guys were subordinate to even a second lieutenant. I could never really get an answer on that. They basically lived, warrant officers lived in their own little world in the U.S. Army. So, there are no more tech sergeants like you've seen in World War II. That evolved into the specialist ranks that you've seen in Vietnam. After Vietnam was done, we got rid of it except for Spec 4. Warrant officers, they've been around a long time. You know, hopefully that gives you somewhat of an explanation on the technical ranks inside the U.S. military. They're murky, and I have yet to hear any real explanation for where they fit in the grand scheme of things, other than, hey, you want to know how to fix that particular piece of equipment? Go talk to that warrant officer. He'll make it happen. Now, for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot Militia movements, always remember, essay ons.